I want to turn to the assassination of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The media reaction was frankly disgusting, Mr. Secretary. NPR tweeted, then deleted, that Abe was a divisive arch-conservative, and CBS This Morning remembered him this way.
A polarizing figure, he was a right-wing nationalist and conservative, and a fierce supporter of Japan's military.
Mr. Secretary, who exactly was he polarizing to? He was the country's longest-serving prime minister who won by huge margins.
Raymond, this is sick. It's sick to see these left-wing media folks go after a man who was just assassinated. He was assassinated, by the way, while he was campaigning for his party, for his ideas, for the things that actually have benefited the Japanese people for an awfully long time. There is a reason he was the longest-serving prime minister. The people of Japan loved him and revered him. He'd become a friend of mine, too. He was a great partner for the United States of America. And so to hear NPR and CBS come after him for being some right-wing crazy, well, he delivered really good outcomes for the Japanese people, and he was a great partner to the United States. It doesn't surprise me that someone who did that, who worked alongside us in the Trump administration, being attacked by the left, this is the same old tired story. I regret that they would do that at a time where this man was assassinated in his own country.
Terrible. FBI Director Christopher Wray yesterday talked about one of the greatest threats facing our country, Mr. Secretary. Watch.
We consistently see that it's the Chinese government that poses the biggest long-term threat to our economic and national security. And by our, I mean both of our nations, along with our allies in Europe and elsewhere.
Now, I seem to remember President Biden highlighting far greater threats.
You know what the Joint Chiefs told us the greatest threat facing America was? Global warming. According to the intelligence community, terrorism from white supremacy is the most lethal threat to the homeland today. Not ISIS, not Al-Qaeda, white supremacists.
Mr. Secretary, who's right, Wray or Biden?
I'm with Ray. Ray nailed it. Ray's got it exactly right. The Chinese Communist Party has been abusing the American people. They've stolen millions of our jobs. They've taken away intellectual property. They've stolen our secrets in our universities. Director Ray has this right. The Chinese Communist Party, not climate change, not white supremacism, actually present real risks to every American all across this country.
And they're probably incensed, the media as well as parts of the Biden administration, about the Abe, with Abe missing. There is a regional balance here that we are losing. Talk to us about what that means and what we may have lost in Abe being assassinated here.
Yeah, Prime Minister Abe was really the first and most significant Asian leader to confront the Chinese Communist Party. It's hard when you're in their neck of the woods there in the Pacific, but he was serious about it. He partnered with Australia, with the South Koreans, with our other allies in the region, and of course with us to deliver a central understanding about the Chinese Communist Party, the very one that Director Wray spoke of there. He was fearless in supporting that, and we've lost a great leader who was willing to really change the trajectory of Japan's willingness to defend itself and the countries in the region. There's a real risk today, whether that's Taiwan or Japan itself or the south central parts of the Pacific. Abe was a fierce defender. He's no longer there, and this presents increased risk not only to them but to the United States of America as well.
Mr. Secretary, thank you for your insight tonight.